Well, the Mojaves are finally hitting the dealerships, so we're going to take a look at one and see how it compares to the old Rubicon. Hey everybody, it's Bubba with X's 4x4 and we build badass Jeeps. Well, the Mojave is here. We got our hands on one, so we thought we'd come over, check it out, and discuss some of the differences between it and the Rubicon Gladiator. First of all, these are only available in the Gladiator. You won't be able to get them in the Wrangler, at least not right now. Right off the bat, you're gonna notice the badging is different, and that's where it all starts, right there. It says desert rated, not trail rated. That's what essentially is going to make this entire vehicle different from the Rubicon, is the fact that it was built with the idea of going fast in the desert. For those of you that aren't familiar with going fast in the desert, let's talk about it. When you're rock crawling in a Rubicon, which is basically what the idea was back in the TJ days when they came up with the concept of the Rubicon, they wanted to build something that was a little bit more rock crawling capable minded vehicle, and it really hasn't changed much since then. So if you were going to be going off-road and going faster, you don't really need all of the things that the Rubicon has. You need some of them, and then you need to upgrade a few other points, which is what they did here. So let's start with the very front of the vehicle and work our way back. Up front, up front, you're gonna find Fox 2.5-inch internal bypass remote reservoir shock. That's definitely an upgrade over the other model Jeeps, even the Rubicons. Because they are remote reservoir, they have to put those reservoirs somewhere. You'll notice up front that there's a different skid plate, and that's because those reservoirs are tucked right in where the sway bar disconnect motor on a Rubicon would be. You're not going to have a sway bar that disconnects like you do on the Rubicon, but you are going to have some super cool shocks. Now, those internal bypass remote reservoir shocks do a lot when you're going fast off-road. Because you have that remote reservoir, you have more volume and fluid, your shock fading is reduced tremendously. That's the idea behind that. You're able to absorb a lot more shocks with higher frequency and not have the fade that you would have on a standard reservoir shock. You're also going to find hydraulic bump stops in the front. That's an upgrade over the foam bump stops that come standard on all Jeep. What that's going to do is, because we're so much heavier in the front, the weight of that engine coming down real hard, that hydraulic bump stop is going to help dampen that effect before it just has an immediate abrupt impact. It's going to make for a smoother ride when you're going fast off-road. Something else you're going to see is the wheels. They actually have a 15mm greater offset on them, so they're going to sit further out. A little bit wider stance, more stability off-road. Moving around here, you're going to see the hood. We have this really cool intake style hood up here. That's to help with the cooling, but it also gives that Mojave a very unique look. Now, for those of you out there that have Gladiators or Wranglers, and you're thinking you want to add this to yours, you will be able to buy these as a Mopar part and add them to them, but you'll have to replace the cowl and the hood both. So you buy those up, paint them up, throw them on the Jeep, and you got that Mojave look, but you won't have all the other cool stuff that comes with the Mojave, which we're going to continue covering. You'll see the orange outline here on the stickers. You'll see it in the badging itself, but you're also going to find it on the interior. All the stitching on the Mojaves is that same orange. It's very unique, very specific to the Mojaves. Let's talk about the axles now. This is very important because it's one of the most unique things about the Mojave. So in the front, you're gonna find a wide track D44 or M210 housing or axle. It is basically what you would find in the front end of, say, like a Gladiator with a Sport S Max tow package. It's gonna be the same width as a Rubicon axle, but it will not have a locker in it. It's gonna come with 410 gearing. That's gonna be something that's standard on these. While you can get 373 in the Rubicons, you can't get that with the Mojave. You're going to get 410s. But one of the very cool things that I like about the Mojave front axle that I really think Jeep should have just stuck with the whole time was the knuckles are cast iron, not aluminum. This is something that Jeep had to do to make sure that it was going to be strong enough when you're going off-road and you're hitting stuff really, really hard. I don't think those aluminum knuckles would hold up very well, and Jeep didn't think so either. So there we go. We got cast iron knuckles again. In fact, I hope that's something that we can upgrade to the other Jeeps as they go down the road, because I am not a fan of the aluminum steering knuckles. Suspension-wise, front upper control arms are different on these. They're beefed up, again, to help absorb a lot of that impact off-road. Spring rates are different. They're going to be a little bit stiffer on the Mojave, because when you're going fast off-road, you're going to be doing a lot of up and down, and then they need to be a little bit stiffer spring to help absorb some of those impacts. That being said, it's going to sit a little bit taller, about an inch, than the standard Rubicon lift height. For those of you that really like the Rubicons but don't feel like you need a front locker, this may be the way to go. Plus, you get a little bit extra lift on it. The frame has been reinforced in a lot of different places. Lower control arm mounts are reinforced, some of the cross members, motor mounts, stuff like that. The frame in general is going to be a lot stronger overall to help give it that durability off-road. So it's not coming apart on us. We don't have metal fatigue breaking because it's too thin. They beefed it up where it really needed it. Now the other 6 control arms throughout the vehicle are going to remain the same as all the other Jeep models. It's really just going to be those front upper control arms that change. The transfer case. This is something that's kind of weird, but I really, really like it. This will come with a 272 transfer case, not the 4-to-1 that you find in the Rubicon. Personally, I've always felt with, ever since the 8-speed automatic came out, that the 4-to-1 was really unnecessary in the Rubicon models. This being a desert go fast type vehicle, they did not want a 4-to-1. They wanted the 272, being that you could run pretty fast even in low range with these. As far as drivetrain goes, that's really all that changes. You're only going to be able to get this with the 3.6 that I know of. Ultimately, at some point, you may be able to get it with the 3-liter eco diesel, but you'll never find the 2-liter in these. Right now, all you're going to be getting is the 3.6. The 850 RE transmission, unless it's an eco diesel, not a whole lot has changed in the drivetrain area other than the transfer case and the fact that 14 gears are going to be your standard option. Let's move to the rear. First thing you're going to notice right off the bat is 2.5-inch internal bypass Fox shocks in the rear. But instead of having remote reservoir, they're going to have piggyback. Super easy for Jeep to just throw piggyback shocks in there because the aftermarket's been doing it since Gladiator came out. And that actually is the preferred way to mount them in the rear. Same 15mm offset on these wheels. The difference you're going to find back here is the Mojave does come with a rear locker. Now this is cool because on the Mojave, and only in the Mojave, you can actually use this locker in high range. That's something that people have been asking for a long time in the Rubicons, but Jeep just won't budge. And this one, they knew people would be going fast off-road, so you can actually use that locker in high range. Something that is different in the drivetrain, you are actually going to get the max tow cooling package with this. Means you're going to get a bigger fan. That's going to help you keep this thing cool when you're ripping through the dunes and stuff like that. And I will note that when I opened this hood just now to get a look inside here, that hood is a little bit heavier than your standard hoods. A little bit of weight difference there may help account for that spring rate difference as well. That's the Mojave in a nutshell. I'm really excited about it. I think it's awesome. If I was out in the market ordering a Gladiator right now and I knew it would be a while before I was gonna upgrade anything on it, this would be the one to buy over a Rubicon for sure. I feel like this is the Gladiator that would have been built for me. In terms of price, it's really not that much more expensive than a Rubicon that would be similarly built with the same interior trim packages, maybe a couple $1,000s. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think that's that much in terms of what you gain. I think it's an awesome buy. I think it's an awesome product, and I can't wait to get one in the shop and meet a customer that's owned for a while and been driving it and see what they think about it. For more videos about Jeep stuff and other off-road things, click here. Awesome.